So this is the session you've been waiting for. Charismatic communication, how to deliver a message in a way that changes lives. And the delivery of the message is huge. Because you can take average content, delivered in a powerful way, that's vastly better than brilliant content delivered in a boring way. Okay, so you want to, so delivery is huge. They've done studies that the out of the percentage out of 100% in terms of your communication, your actual content is like a very small percentage out of the 100%. Up to 85% is nonverbal, or is not actually the content. So only 15% of your message is the content, and we've been spending the last two sessions on the content. But obviously, we need to do both: strong content and then delivered in an engaging way. Okay, so charismatic defined. This is not charismatic church vibes. Now, this is like charismatic personality, or somebody that has charisma. But here's a definition. Charismatic is used to describe people who have an outgoing, energetic, and likable personality that seems to naturally draw other people to them. And you're probably thinking, that's not me. Can we all go home? Let's all go home. Okay, but I've got good news. In a groundbreaking study, if you can put that on slide. In a groundbreaking study, 2 slides on. In a groundbreaking study from Princeton University, researchers found that highly charismatic, likable, compelling people demonstrate a special blend of 2 specific traits: warmth and competence. Simple equation: warmth cues, next slide, warmth cues plus competence cues. What's a cue? It's a cue is you're sending a signal. Warmth would be, I'm smiling, I'm warm, I'm friendly. So warmth cues plus competence cues equals charisma. And we can all grow in it. We can all develop it. So they say there also, this formula, on the next slide, this formula is a powerful blueprint for every interaction. It's not just like from the stage or speaking to a group of people. It's literally just one-on-one, same thing. Warmth plus competence. It will determine promotion in the workplace. It will determine your relationships. It will determine ultimately how attractive you are to other people. But you need warmth plus competence. It can completely change the way you communicate if you know how to use it. Now, obviously, we don't want to be fake. We don't want to, it needs to be real. But sometimes you really love somebody, but you're not showing it. I really love you, but it doesn't look like it. So, and this is challenging, especially when it comes to communication, because you're so intimidated that you come across cold and indifferent. So you want warmth and competence. And according to the research, warmth and competence cues account for 82% of our impressions of others. So first, this is how we all function. We quickly assess someone's warmth, answering the question, can I trust you? Warmth equals, I can trust you. I'm connecting with you. I want to draw near to you. And then we look for competence, answering the question, can I rely on you? And the way, even our nonverbal communication will ultimately determine if we come across warm and if we come across competent. And so we want to break that down in this session to give you an idea of how you can grow in this. Highly charismatic people exhibit the perfect blend of warmth and competence. They immediately signal both trust and credibility. We see them as both friendly and smart, warm and competent. We see them as impressive and collaborative. In other words, the impressive is competent. The collaborative is, I can really work with you. I want to work with you. Some people are like super competent, but you don't want to work with them. Okay? And other people, they are super friendly, but man, I can't rely on them. It's like, yes, I don't know if they're going to do what they need to do. But, and so we can all grow in that. They earn both our respect and our admiration. Okay, so here's a diagram. This is from the book called Cues. Can't remember the lady's name now. I'm just starting the book, and it's something I'm just sharing a little bit from the premise of the book. But so on the top right is the charisma zone. That's where you want to be. You see at the bottom it says competence on the x-axis, competence, the horizontal axis, and then the vertical axis is warmth. So if you are high in warmth but low in competence, you're in the left top block. If you are high in competence, low in warmth, you're in the right bottom block. If you are low in both, God help you. Then you're in the danger zone, okay? But the good news, all of us can learn to become more warm, and we can learn to become more competent in our communication. But you want to be in the charisma zone. And so I've made this mistake in the past where I'm so psyched about my content, and man, I want miracles to come, people to be healed, and the kingdom coming, that I forget just to connect with the people. So I came across highly competent, but I didn't come across warm. And that actually takes away from the message and the ministry. Because it seems like this guy knows what he's talking about, but I don't know if I can trust him. And then the moment I put my wife next to me, and it was like, I can trust him. Sonica is okay, And so we have learned this, even when we travel now. If Sonica travels with me, then we will both do it. Even when we launched the Destiny Encounter in Wellington, we realized that, man, we want to awesome content and everything we want to bring. But the people first need to connect with us. They need to know we're for real. Not just going to speak some wonderful things. This is working at home. So we had both Sonica and me before. I spoke the first two sessions. But before I did that, Sonica was on stage with me, and we would both just share. We would honor the people for taking out the time to be there. We would communicate to them that we really appreciate it, and we would speak about a little bit about our marriage, and Vian put a photo on the screen, and so people can just get a glimpse into our home, and like at home things are good. I actually love my wife. It's amazing the moment people figure out I really love my wife and our marriage is wonderful, and it immediately opens people's hearts to all the other stuff. So the warmth is massive, and you need to make time for that. If you don't make time for it and you just jump into your content, you're going to miss it. You're going to be in the competent zone, the competent block there, but you're not in the charisma zone. People are not going to be receiving as much as they could. So those who lack these two qualities, warmth and competence, they are overlooked for promotion. And people often feel sorry for them. Because it's like, if somebody doesn't look you in the eye, it seems awkward. It's like last week we were sitting with a girl, Gabby and I, and this girl cannot look you in the eye. And so we prayed with her and so forth, and it's just like it's always somewhere else. It's just like, because she looks awkward, everyone's awkward. I'm awkward. You're not drawn to the person. And I say to her, hey, look me in the eye. And she looked me in the eye and say, hey, you have a beautiful smile. And the smile went there. And immediately in 5 minutes of just that one thing, look me in the eye, look me in the eye and smile. Immediately. There's a charisma on her. Immediately. Just by doing that, look me in the eye and smile. It's brilliant. It was amazing. So we all need to work on that. For instance, sometimes you need to tell your face Smile. Smile. Because when we're intimidated, we're like, less expression. It's like, oh, I need to, you know. And what happens is if you're not warm, it steals from your competence as well. You could be the world expert on your topic. I mean, competence out of this world. But you're not warm, then they're not going to receive. They found, in the studies, they found that doctors who are not both warm and because you think of a doctor, specialist, they're competent, but they found that the doctors that aren't warm, aren't engaging, they get sued more in the United States. It's amazing. They've done studies, it's fascinating. And because when a specialist is actually warm and engaging, immediately they trust him more, they engage you, connect more with you. This is critical. You can have the best ideas, the best ideas in life. If you can't bring it across in a warm and competent way, people are not going to receive it. And we can all grow in this, okay? So we need to learn how, there's some basics in terms of becoming warm and competent. So communication is more than the words we use. It's everything about us. And that's why we need to get feedback. So my wife would often give me feedback and say, that was wonderful, but you must first just connect with the people. First, so that's why I've just learned so much, because if people don't trust us, they're not going to receive. Even if you love them so much, if you don't show it, they're not going to feel it. Okay, so this is where we need to learn. Okay, so how do we become more warm, more competent? How do we grow in this? And ultimately, how do we break out of our fears? Because if you are so intimidated, then you're just not going to come across warm. So you need to be comfortable in your skin. So step 3 and 4 of our overall process is you need to pray till you're hot, and then you need to let yourself go. So if you can just get this right, even if we're going to get into more details and specifics of how you can, but if you just get this right, you are fired up, you have the preacher's burden, you are so excited, you really want to just help people, then you're 80% there. If you can deliver in a passionate way, then that is the biggest win ever, okay? So at least get that. You need the preacher's burden. So here's a picture of a guy on a cliff. So this is the context or the urgency in which we want to communicate. Someone is walking on their way and they're going to walk off a cliff. That's the context. And that communicates the preacher's burden. It's like, hey, stop, wake up, turn around, you're going to die. In other words, the urgency gets you over yourself. The urgency gets you from being, I am here today to tell you something. Hey, wake up. Man, I love you so much, I'm going to get over myself. Love's going to move me to bring the message with passion. That by itself is going to move you into, I believe, the more into the charisma zone. Okay, so that's always the context. Love people, get over yourself. It's not about you. Come on, say it. It's not about me. It's not about me. Okay, that's what you need to. So that's why pray till your heart, it overwhelms your fear, and your love also casts out every fear. So you want to focus on that. I want to help people. And I tell you so many times I've been in that space like, oh, the content and this, and I wonder if God, and I just love the people and show it. Love the people and show it. So your voice can make an impact on somebody's life. And that is, if you get nothing else from this session, that's the main thing. You need to know the context. Man, I really want to help someone from walking off a cliff. And you're not going to wonder about, did I shout too loud? I want to just help them. Okay. So that's the main deal. And so you need to, Sonic and I often had to do this. So be building up to when you need to speak. You need to make declarations like, I speak well. You need to tell yourself that. Come on, say it. I speak well. Say it. I speak well. Come on, say it. God is with me. Say it. When I share God's word, lives are transformed. Come on, say it. I'm an excellent communicator. Come on, say it, I am bold. Come on, say it, I'm always anointed. Step out and do it then. And something Sonic and I've been saying, I'm always anointed. Maybe I didn't pray enough, but I'm still anointed. You know, when you step up and you deliver, you don't have any time. Your time is run out. It is time to deliver. Then you need to activate your faith and you need to believe that God's going to back you up. Even if it's with small group, life group, or with it. I'm telling you, kids' church, it's the gates of hell. Those little ones are coming for you. So you need to bring it. Bring it passionately. Okay, so you need to stir your faith, make those declarations. The more comfortable you are in your skin, the more charisma you're going to manifest. If you are awkward, they've said that with these cues, because I've never been able to understand it, but if someone is standing up here and they are really, really awkward, it makes everybody uncomfortable. Do you agree? It's like, oh, crisis. Here, asseblief. Help. Somebody's dying today. Lord. So no one's going to receive the message. You're just like, please, please. May they stop or whatever. Lord, help them to survive. You know. So the cues we communicate is what the rest of the people receive. If someone is really awkward, we all feel awkward. But at the moment you're comfortable and you're just free, then everybody's like, oh, okay, I can relax. I can receive the word of the Lord. Okay, so you want to be comfortable in your skin. And as I said earlier, average content delivered powerfully is way better than great content delivered poorly. This is huge. You need to learn how to communicate. And how do you do that? Okay, we're going to get into some of that. But you learn best to communicate by simply doing it. You need to just do it. And then you need to get feedback and make some changes. I know it's challenging, but you need to make a video. We're going to help you guys. Make a video and then get some feedback. That's your homework next 6 weeks. Every week there's going to be something to help you. You're going to get feedback. It's going to be beautiful. Okay, so the law of communication is to truly impart information requires the building of bridges. To truly impart information, you need to build a bridge to somebody. It's your responsibility to build a bridge to them. You can't expect your audience just to listen to you and to connect. You need to be aware of where your audience is at, and you need to build a bridge. You need to speak their language. So I'm thinking like I'm going to Ivory Coast in a week from now to a church of 2,000 people. I'm going to preach on live TV as well for the French-speaking Africa. And hallelujah, it's going to be interesting. But I'm like, how can I speak their language? I realized, well, learn a little bit French and just get one line in French. People appreciate that. Just speak something in there, say, bonjour. And that's it. I can't do anything more than that. But I'm going to learn a little bit by next week. Okay. Right. So let's look at the warmth side of things. Warmth. The law of the heart is that teaching that impact is not head to head, but heart to heart. Heart to heart. Warmth. The heart to heart is what brings real life change. You need to speak from the heart. Even if you really practice it a lot, you need to, from the heart, not just the head. And that's why you need to be comfortable with being you. You need to believe in your message. You need to find your own voice and you share from the heart. That is going to impact people. Okay, so what does it look like to be warm? It's to be relatable. It's to be human on people's level. It's to be vulnerable. It's to be humble. It's to be kind. It's about sharing your weaknesses and your struggles. These kind of things make us human, and these things people connect with. I mean, it's like if you look at JP's preaching over the last year, especially the first bunch of messages that he shared after his wife passed away. Sure, we were all dying. But it was so engaging because it was so real. And it caused our hearts to open up massively for the word of the Lord to come in. Because it was so authentic. And that was incredible, the way he brought the realness of his struggles, the realness of what he's been through, and yet with hope. God is good. God is with us. And that is just the heart The hardest heart in the world will become soft when you are that vulnerable and that real. And that's why we are very intentional on that. It's like we want to open the door for people, not just to engage with us, but to be vulnerable themselves, because that's when the heart opens up. So look for those vulnerable stories without necessarily oversharing. Okay? So you want to also you need to, there's this tension. You need to find that sweet spot of how you're going to share. So struggles reveal ultimately warmth. Strength reveal competence. You need both. You can't always also just be completely pathetic the whole time. Okay, you're just struggling and it's always horrible. That's also not going to help. Okay, so make time to communicate warmth, plan it, not just jump into your content, make space just to engage with people. So Sonika would quickly want to share a few ways of how she does that.
So I just want to give you a few examples of how to build a bridge to your audience, especially if they don't know you. So you are now speaking in front of people, they don't necessarily know you, and now you need to connect with them before you get into your content. So a couple of years ago, I was invited by Selborne Primary to speak at their Mother's Day, which is very different to church. It was now all the grade 7 boys and their moms and the teachers sitting there staring at you. You got 15 minutes and now you need to say something that's going to add value to their lives. They possibly don't even want to sit there. I don't know. So the morning when I arrived at school, I had my message prepped. I had my 15 minutes. I literally practiced it like an oral. Every afternoon, Monday, I would go to a room in our home. I would close the door and I would speak it out loud. And if I get stuck, I would do it again, because I realized that every minute counts if you have 15 minutes. And it's now at a school, and you have limited time, so you can't wonder about what you want to say. You need to know. So first of all, I had limited time and I practiced it, but I still didn't have a proper way of connecting with them. So the Friday morning when I walked into the school, it was really God who gave me this idea. I realized that I saw the chamber choir on the Tuesday night, and actually that year they won the trophy for the best chamber choir at Eisteddfod. And I realized this is my connection. So I started just with congratulating them on their trophy. And I just said I was actually there. I heard you sing. And then I asked the boys, so who of you are in the chamber choir? And quite a few of them raised their hands. And that was within 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes. I was connecting with them. I was connecting with the moms, obviously, who are proud of their sons, and the teachers. They're proud. It's their school. And I connected with at least some of the boys. And for me, it was just, I didn't think about it before, but when I walked into the school, I realized that's my connection point. And then I could do the 15 minutes after I've actually connected with their hearts. And then another example I want to give you, I preached at Shofar East London a couple of weeks ago, also coincidentally on Mother's Day. But again, an audience who do not know me, people who, I never see them. And now you need to get into their world. You need to invite them into your world before you jump into your sermon. So I decided again to use Mother's Day as a connection point. So what I did is I got a card from Vian. Vian, our son, is now 13 years old. So at that stage, when he wrote me that card, he was 7. Praise God, I took a picture of that card. So parents, please take pictures of things that your child does. Or even if you're not a parent, take pictures, use your Evernote, like Andre says, make notes, because one day you might just find it valuable. So I took this card he wrote me, and what it said, he wrote, "Mommy, I love you very much, but when can I get a SIM card for my phone?" He was literally 7 years old. He possibly, I don't know, he must have had a phone, obviously, maybe some old phone without a SIM card. But that was his Mother's Day message for me. And I took a picture, I put it on the screen for the people to see it. And, I had an immediate connection with a crowd, because 2 minutes before that, the kids' church, all the kiddies came in with chocolates for the moms, and they celebrated Mother's Day. And then I could make them part of my world in terms of my son, and a little bit of humor and a little bit of a personal thing connected to the day and connected to the event. And immediately I could just see that there's a connection between me and the crowd. So it's so important, especially if people do not know you, to find common ground, to build that bridge, because you literally need to see it as you are here and they are here, and you need to walk across into their world, and you need to invite them back into your world. But if there's not a bridge, nobody can walk towards one another. So you need to find that common ground so that people can walk. A mistake I made recently was at our Awaken morning, or Saturday, I opened with a welcome, and, because it's church and because it's Sunday, it feels as if everybody knows you, but they don't, especially not at an event like that. And I forgot that there's actually a lot of visitors. They do not know who I am. So for them, I was just a random person. And, when we had our feedback meeting, us girls, we just talked about it, that, when I speak, people do not necessarily know that I'm Andre's wife. They do not necessarily know that I'm the pastor's wife, especially where there's a lot of visitors. So that morning, I didn't do it as well. So I made a note that next time when there's an event like that, I need to build a bridge to our visitors. I can't make an assumption that everybody knows who I am and just jump into a welcome message. I need to build a bridge. I need to make them a part of my world, maybe a little bit of the church and who I am, without going into too much detail, but I need to build that bridge at all times. Sometimes we think it's an audience that know us, but then within the audience, there's a couple of people who have no idea who you are. So if we jump too quickly into our content and our message, we lose those individuals. So it's always worth it to think who do not know me, or who's part of the audience who's got no reference for where I'm going, and just to pick them up, to build that bridge, and to make sure that you take everybody with you, not just the people who know you well.
Okay, so there's a few tips in terms of the building that bridge, right? So make time for that. Then authenticity, or on the next slide it says trap. There's a trap that you're so focused on your message or your mission that you miss the people, okay? So always first focus on the people. Then authenticity, as I shared, while we speak about, say, our marriage or relationship, and they want to know, are you for real? Then warmth brings legitimacy to your competence, which is quite interesting, okay? So it's very important. They're going to receive your what you actually want to say much better. So as I said earlier, value your audience, show you love people. And then be animated. Be animated. As I said, let your facial expressions show. Share from the heart, as I said, being vulnerable and emotional. We're looking at someone like Novak Djokovic. He's extremely competent, correct? One of the best ever. But people don't like him. They don't connect with him. And we were evaluating now with Wimbledon, and we saw, when they interview him afterwards, it's actually quite warm and engaging. But when he's playing, he's like a robot. Compared to Nadal, Nadal is like, yes, and he's animated. He's like, and people are like, we're connecting. But Djokovic is like a robot. He doesn't get angry necessarily. He doesn't get excited. He's like, I just won Wimbledon. Okay, cool. And people don't engage. So his competence is huge, but his warmth is low. And then you can pick up with him. He's always wanting people to like him as well. And that, when you're desperate for people to like you, then they really don't like you. So it backfires. So if you're a people pleaser, it's going to show up, and it will hold you back. You can't really be comfortable and authentic when you're wanting to please people. So that's why you need to grow in your relationship with God and just be yourself. So so humor where possible, as I said about JP did on Sunday, and then be aware of your tone. If you're speaking monotonously, when you are speaking at the same speed the whole time, and you just continue like that, it's just really, really painful, and we all want to go to sleep. So also you're so fast the whole time. That's also going to freak people out. Have you seen a movie where it's just action the whole time? You want to die Can I please breathe? I want to breathe. So the best movies is like there's action, there's excitement, and then they bring it down, and then the actors just chat. It's slow, it's peaceful, and the audience gets peace, like a moment to rest, and then it's action again. So you want that variety, not the same speed. So you want to at times you go really like when you want to emphasize something, you go loudly and you go passionately. And then you want to, when you really emphasize, you want to bring it down and you want to make the point. And you give breathing space. Did you see it? Do you feel the point? Make the point. Okay, so those kind of things is something one can practice to grow in it. Okay, so on your video things you're gonna have to do, you're gonna learn this. Okay, so bring in variety in your speed. On the next slide, this is huge. Use your hands. Have you seen people like that? It looks awkward, looks like a robot. Not very warm. I've seen it with videos as well. When you even if you can just see the top part of someone on video, the moment you bring in your hands, the moment you feel it's just in this expressive, you just feel comfortable, look comfortable. You communicate to people, you can be okay. It's going to be okay. You're not going to die. You're not going to die with this message. It's going to be engaging. You're going to have fun. You're going to receive something. Okay. Are you seeing it compared to this? Use your hands. I've done interviews with people on videos like, I'm dying. Use your hands, please use your hands. Just bring in your hands. Speak with your whole body. Okay, move around. These kind of things, Be free to move, use your hands. All these kind of things really, really help. Okay, awesome, because there's a few things on warmth, okay? Then competence, quickly. A few things on competence is more sharing from your intellect. Warmth would be sharing more from the heart. Competence would be a little bit more from your mind or the more the intellectual side of things. Okay, so what is the best way to improve your competence? Be comfortable with your content. That's going to come across as if you know what you're saying because you're comfortable with your content. And how do you get comfortable with your content? Practice, 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 practice. And Sonika said, with that 15-minute thing, she was like in the one room every day, saying it, going through it, making sure. So when she delivered it, it came, and especially in a challenging environment, you need to know your content even better because it's intimidating. So you really need to know your content if you want to be able to communicate effectively. Another way of increasing your competence is clarity. Clarity reveals competence. It's like, makes sense. I'm getting understanding. That sounds amazing. Clarity reveals competence. If you I don't know what the guy's trying to say. It seems incompetent. Okay, so make sure everything you say adds to the point. Don't go on random trails of weirdness just to say something. Make sure it adds to what you're trying to say. Another one, anchor your message in God's word. That reveals competence. The word of God gives us authority. Then another one, get your facts right. When Jonah and the Israelites marched around Jericho for 7 days, that was just amazing how God came in. And everyone's like, that sounds really incompetent. I don't know if I should listen to anything you say now because you got your story completely wrong. So make sure if you say something, that you've checked it out. Another one, pronounce words correctly. Dis is vir Afrikaanse mense. Like when we want to say debt and it's debt. I wasn't debt. Or you say Psalms per Psalms. Then I want to die. Or the apostles are the apostles. I'm dying again. It's apostles. They even argue with me. Some pastors argue with me. It's apostles. It's not apostles. But you seem incompetent. And then we need to also figure out British versus American, which is something I struggle with. I'm so watching American stuff, I get my things messed up at times. The one time years ago, I was first year or two of preaching, and I was in Worcester, and I was preaching about David and Goliath, and the whole sermon through, I was saying Goliath. And I'm like, I know something's wrong, but I don't know what's wrong. And then Goliath came again, and then Goliath did that. And then Goliath, I was like Goliathing everything. And then afterwards it was Goliath. Goliath. If you don't know, Google it. Google it. But if you say those kind of things, just like people like, eek, poor guy, you know, awkward. Also, if you're too stuck to your notes, as I've said earlier, like then you're behind the thing, whatever, those kind of things, it lacks warmth and it seems incompetent. And when you're just reading your notes the whole time, they say you look like a politician, so it makes people suspicious. Because think about it, why is the politician reading it? Is it because it's the official statement and it's not the truth? Okay, so you don't want to just read it. So you need to understand your talk, don't just memorize it in a sense, you know. Don't be like in a robot. Obviously you can, but you need to deliver. It needs to be comfortable. But you need to understand. If you understand your message, in other words, you know your big main point, and you know where you want to go from your intro, transition to your main point, and add a few points, then you can really speak out of the heart. If you understand it, if you understand something, you can chat to somebody one-on-one, and you can share with them because you understand it. You don't need to look on your notes. Okay, so also speaking too slowly makes you seem unsure of yourself and therefore less competent. So this is huge. Rather speak faster than slower. So for instance, something I've worked on with Sonica over the years, because she would speak a little bit too slowly. I told her, up your speed. And if you listen to her from 5 years ago to now, it's in another dimension. Her communication. Obviously, she's grown as a person as well, greater authority. But when you speak at a good pace, it's more engaging. And it just seems like you know what you're doing. Okay. And we hope that we know what we're doing. Okay. But, okay, so add also, so real life stories bring a legitimacy to what you're saying. Research quotes from respected people proves your big idea, your argument. And then very important, get feedback and learn. Watch yourself. Watch yourself on video. Watch yourself, okay? So we're going to do that, and we don't want to fake it. We want to be real. But if you're wanting to push through the fear, fake it till you make it. Because you're dying on the inside, but you're going to bring it. Okay? That's not being a hypocrite. It's just you're pushing through the fear. Okay? But you ultimately want to be comfortable. You want to be confident. Okay, so conclusion. Warmth plus competence equals charisma. Again, put the diagram on again. The charisma zone. You want to be in the charisma zone. Competent plus warm. Competent plus warm. This will change your engagement in all your relationships. It will help. Okay. So back to the guy on the cliff, the image. There are people that need your voice. They're going to walk off a cliff. I can't speak to them, but you can. That's what's at stake. That's what's at stake. And so we need to develop the skill set and this art form to really impact lives. So step 3 and 4, pray till your heart and then let yourself go. The people don't know what you plan to say. They don't know. You don't need to I didn't say that. Just go for it. Just go for it. Just share. And the Lord will back you up. We believe in you. You have a voice. Let's unlock it. But the challenge is now your engagement. Are you going to join us now on the next 6 weeks of growing? That's the question. Are you going to push through your fear and get some feedback? So how are we going to do it? We're going to first just find out from you guys who is in for the next 6 weeks. Okay, so you need to say, I am in. Then secondly, there's 6 things that you need to do. One thing each week. It's going to build up to a 10-minute teaching. And you're going to post it on your group. We're going to finalize the groups later. It might not be the same group that it was now. We'll just need to see who's in and who's not. And there's other people that weren't here that needs to watch these sessions and then join us. And so you're going to post it on the group. The group members are only allowed to give positive feedback. Only positive feedback. If you give negative feedback on the group, the fire of heaven will fall on you in a bad way, okay? Because encouragement is huge. We need to encourage one another. Okay, the group members can send the leader of the group some constructive criticisms on the person's thing that they posted. The leader will then determine if it's valid and communicate in a way that is helpful, okay? So we just want to make sure things are done in a nice way. Okay, so quickly then on the homework sessions. So put that on. Okay, sorry, this is what we want to quickly discuss in our groups. We're going to get that in a moment. I want to quickly go to homework assignments. I don't think it's on the screen. I'm just going to say it. Week number 1 will be find a joke, a clean joke online, if you don't know one. Then practice sharing it to the mirror. Become comfortable with your voice and make sure you make that punchline work well. When it comes to sharing a joke, the delivery is huge. Okay, so when you are ready, you're comfortable, you've got that down, your pause before you get to the punchline, then you need to record yourself on your phone and you post it on the group. And then we're going to give you feedback. Week 2, share a story. Think about an interesting story of your life that could illustrate something you have learned through it. So you're going to focus on, I've got this interesting story and I've learned something through this life story. You practice, it's like 5 minutes max. You're going to practice that, sharing the story, and you're going to highlight the one thing you learned from that thing that happened in your life. Okay, so it's about learning how to share a story. 3rd week, send an outline of your teaching. Okay, so you can choose one of those 6 scriptures we gave you or any other scripture. And so over the next 3 weeks, you want to develop an outline. So you have a big idea, and then you're going to work on your intro. You're going to work on 10-minute teaching. That should be maximum, word for word, that should be 2 A4 pages. If you literally write everything down, that shouldn't be more than 2 A4 pages if your margins aren't too big, okay? And then, so you want to find the treasure in the scriptures, you want to find the big idea, and you work out your outline. Week 4, now you want to work out that killer bottom line for your previous 10-minute outline. So now you take it through, you cream it, you take your big idea, and you cream it, and you post it on the group. Like, guys, this is and then the group can help you. So you can throw around a few ideas. What about this? What about that? Then week 5 is do a teaching now in 10 minutes. So you have your content, you have your big idea, and then you have your you practice it a little bit, and you deliver it a few times in your room, and then you record it. Okay, I hope you can figure out how to record it. And then you have to post it, but it will be too big to post it on a WhatsApp group. You will have to somehow upload it into a file sharing thing like Google Drive or OneDrive, Microsoft OneDrive or something. But we have 5 weeks to figure that out. Okay. And then there will be feedback after every week. And then a possible extra would be to write out your salvation story and share that in 5 minutes. Okay, that might be an extra. We'll post all these things to you guys.